All I hear is talking, I don't sweat that. If they don't trust me either, I respect that. But she be down the ride, oh, I bet that.
Love it. I love it. Now, you got ahead of me with a couple of those couple of things you said, but I'm gonna piggyback off a couple. You spoke about making yourself available when the grievance is filed, etc. Um, and I don't like to really get into the USPS part of it yet. I want to talk about the local part of it because a lot of the people that are watching us are having issues with their locals, and I'm not sure if you have this power. I asked the last individual that was on here. And I'm asking you the same thing. Would you commit to ensuring that all local unions hold their meetings at times and formats, whether in person or through accessible platforms like Zoom, WebEx, or other video conferencing tools that are inclusive and convenient for all members? We have a lot of members right here in my chat group that are saying that they want to get rid of the union. Now, without the union, obviously shit gonna go crazy, but this would allow every member, regardless of their schedule or location, to participate fully in a controlled and secure environment. Kind of like I saw the other day with APWU. You know, they had this thing where they sent all these personal invites out and they had to click on the link. There are ways to do it. There are a lot of halls around the country that do it. And then as I'm reading my comments, a lot of the halls say they won't do it, which discourages a lot of your dues paying members. I don't want to feel like I'm paying dues and I have no say. Because if I feel like my shop steward's in bed, I got a person that's in one of my comments that said the shop steward's sleeping with the supervisor. You know, obviously there's a conflict of interest there, but he's paying dues. And then he want to file a grievance, but he can't get the grievance through. These are real life situations that are happening everywhere USA. And you sitting up top in that top chair, I know you only have but so much power, but you do have some influence. We got to bring this back together somehow, some way, and just making a union meeting accessible. I think I spoke to Cruz about it, or somebody would let people feel involved. But when these people are having union meetings at 4:00 in the afternoon on a Wednesday, it's not, they don't really want the members to be involved. They don't. Is there a way that you could somehow, if you don't have the answer, that's fine, but would you be willing to work on a way to try to make that happen?
Well, absolutely. First and foremost, if you're speaking and the question was posed as if I was the national president,
Yes, sir.
we can ensure that meetings occur. Now, the manner, meaning the format and the times, all that is determined by the local branch there, the members there. Now, some may say, well, I can't make a difference. First and foremost, one of the things in my platform is running for president, I said that I was going to bring back the director of education. Education is the key. Educating our members, not only with the contractual knowledge, but what their constitutional rights are, what their bylaws of their branch are, so they'll know how they can proceed with a particular issue. Like in this instance here, if they want to have meetings, meaning any member, they want to have meetings at a particular time, at a particular date that's more convenient for them. It's a matter of them going to the meeting and presenting that information there and getting their bylaws changed. You know, if they want the national to have any extra influence into that, then it's a matter of getting a constitutional change, or a change in the Constitution that would empower the national president to make those things here or have more influence. Now, here's the real deal. You know, there is something that cannot be determined overall, like I said, except for the individuals that are there. There are definitely different scenarios. If you're from, like me, the Los Angeles area, I could get off at 6:00 in the evening and travel to my union hall. It may take me 2 hours just to go 30 miles because of the traffic. And you can have someone down off in a more rural area or less congested area of the country that can get there a lot faster. So, based on the facts, circumstances of your particular branch and the areas around there, those things will be determined by those members. But what the national president can do is ensure that a meeting occur. But the format and how frequently, those things are determined by the local.
Okay. All right.
The
I
one thing
mean,
that I will do, you were talking about not dancing around. I will not dance around. The one thing that I will always do is tell you the truth. I'm
okay.
not going to lead you down the primrose path. I'm not going to tell something that would make them happy. I want to tell them the truth. Because guess what? The very next time I see you, I'll be able to look you in your eye without looking down. You follow what I'm saying?
Okay. So speaking about that, in your opinion, do you believe that the union itself, the NALC overall, do you feel like they're more divided or unified at this point, in your opinion?
There's an argument to be made that there is division amongst the union. If you're speaking about the NLC as of right now,
Mhm.
and there again, there's a lot of variables to that. You know, there are individuals that are dissatisfied with the current leadership. There are those that favor uh, reform and have different candidates that they may uh, support. There are those that feel that what was offered with the tentative agreement, most recently the proposed tentative agreement, was something that we should have accepted versus the overwhelming majority of us that said no. So when you have these clashing of ideas and these clashing of principles, then you're going to have some type of division. But here's the common denominator that will, at least if not stop it, minimize it, is the leadership being on one accord as to what is most important, as I was stating earlier, and representing the very interests of the letter carriers.
Okay. Okay. Let me piggyback off that. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but um, if that's the case, and you're saying that they need to be unified, the leadership, that'd be if you're in there, you and your partners in crime, right? Right now, you don't have unity amongst the leadership. I know you got to support, you got to do your thing. But why did they lock you out during the negotiations? Because your thought process is what everybody else wants. Everybody loving what you're saying right now. But why did they lock you out when the individual up there at the top was going in to do the negotiations? This is not a jab at him. Everybody already dislikes him. But
Yeah.
trying to figure
And
out.
one of the things is here, I want you to know that I've always been about pro us, about what is it that we collectively can do together, meaning the leadership and the people that we represent, the letter carriers out on the working floor. So it's never been, like you said, I'm not anti Brian. I don't go around anti anyone. People come to their own conclusions based on what they see in their own behavior. What I am saying here is that the Constitution, to direct answer to your question, the Constitution gives him the right, meaning the president, the right to determine how the negotiations would go.
Okay.
Now,
Wait. So he didn't want
let
you
me
in there.
say, well, in all fairness, I'm not the only one that wasn't in there. He himself said when we was doing this tour around the country for the rap session about the tentative agreement, that he himself is the one that did all the negotiating.
God damn. Excuse me.
With that being said,
What?
here, would I have done something different? I can tell you, surely would have, because I like to be informed. I like to have bobbleheads around me. I like to have individuals that engage their mind and says what they believe is in the best interest of us accomplishing our mission. And so, do I believe that more of us whether it's the vice president, the executive vice president, the executive board of the officers, certainly I believe that others should be involved. And if that time comes around where I'm in that position, it would not be just me making the determination without consulting and including other individuals that how we're going to proceed and what we believe overall what's in the best interest of the letter carriers. I can tell you, brother,
Mm.
you know, it is it's disheartening, you know, that brothers and sisters out there in the union have lost faith to some degree in our union and in our leadership, which makes it and leaves it open for all kinds of propaganda and filling in space with unpleasant thoughts. But the reality of it is here is that I need everybody to understand is that there are people, such as myself and others, that genuinely care about the letter carriers and is doing everything that they can do. When I'm telling you, land all on the altar of sacrifice, brother, I'm the sitting vice president. It is unconventional for me to have come out in this instance 2.5 years in advance and run. It's because I see a need. And like I said, if you are not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And I've said on other podcasts, you can't clean the pig and be in the mud with it.
Mm.
So what you have to do is separate yourself and do what you believe is right. And one thing is here, don't hold me to no purity test because I'm not perfect. But what I am, what I do have, and other folks that I associate myself with is a pure heart. They have a pure heart. We really are working on behalf and in the interest of the letter carriers. And when it comes down to, like I said here, these negotiations regarding, I believe that we can do both. We can reform this union and preserve the Postal Service all at the same time. It doesn't have to be at either or. Because what? The world still spins, brother. Every single day, there's a bill that has to be paid by a letter carrier. Every single day, you got to put gas in your car to get back to work. Every single day, there's a house note or rent that has to be paid. And so someone still has to be on that wall ensuring that the safeguards of our job and our livelihoods as it relates to the living wage is maintained. So we can reform and we can preserve the Postal Service at the same time. I genuinely believe that.
Okay. I respect that answer. Now we were just talking about the union not having faith in this. This is a systemic problem. They're not having faith in their locals all the way up to the top just because of what recently occurred. We don't need to get into the nitty gritty behind that, but what's been going on for the last 500 days makes a lot of people skeptical. You got to understand there's a lot of people that are 100% skeptical about anybody that wants to step in there. You are the closest to the man up top. So there's a lot of people that want to hear what you got to say. But let's start from the lower level. Let's start from the basics. Grievances. A grievance for anything. Now, if you have a basic grievance and the management goes through, and they do something that's not supposed to be, they got clerks over there doing carrying, whatever the grievance is. What good is filing a grievance if management is going to continue to violate it? Earlier you said management is having to pay out a lot of these grievances and then they crying broke. But I don't understand. I mean, I don't know how much a local can enforce the grievance. I mean, it's written on paper. Management has their own interpretation of the contract, but they still do it. So we have a big issue because if they're like, oh, we're going to get a slap on the wrist, we'll just pay a couple extra dollars, but we're going to still We're going to have them crossing crafts. We're going to have this carrier go do a rural route. We're going to have this rural carrier go do a city carrier route. They're going to violate the hours that you're supposed to work. There's so many different things where a lot of the local letter carriers are feeling, just pulled to the side. I'm going to give you, for instance, I think I mentioned it to somebody else in another one. When my daughter first started working, she had to punch out at 6 p.m. every day. She had a perfect time schedule. I said, how the hell are you doing this? She's not even a full-time person. She's like, oh, they make us punch out at this time. I said, no. You can't do that. Well, Dad, I don't want the issue. I said, no, man. Are you still working? Yes. Okay, well, did you talk to your shop steward? Yeah, but they said to just keep doing it. Well, that became a problem for me because now my daughter's getting paid, not getting paid for her hours of work. So now I'm losing my sugar. Respect the man of God there. And so I'm trying to make phone calls to try to fix this. This is not my problem. But, I finally reached somebody. He's like, oh, we file grievances, but it's not going anywhere. What? Management instructed them to punch out at 6 p.m. every day. I had to go above their head. But that's not my job. What good is it filing a basic grievance that should be enforced if we don't have the power to enforce it?
Well, we do have the power to enforce it. Right?
Okay.
That is just the bottom line is, and we enforce it by filing the grievances and moving them up. And there's your traditional, or I should say your typical asking for escalating remedies, asking for more stringent language, things of that nature. But you're a father, are you not?
Yep. Grandfather.
And has there not been time where you may have told your children to do something and they know that there's consequences, but they do it anyway?
Yes.
Again, but what was your biggest, influence to get them to at least give you some semblance of act right? Is that you're being consistent with enforcement, right?
Mm-hmm.
What happens, I think, is because, at least my experience dictate to me, I often see that we, as the union, aren't as consistent with following up and following through on these issues as much as we should be, and sometimes not as aggressive as we should be. That is not everybody. So, because by and large, everyone, by and large, the NALC does a good job in terms of filing grievances and following up and following through. But that one individual who is a single parent and they're being mandated to work every day and they can't get off in time to get home to get their child, and they're paying an extra $75 to the daycare center
Oh, yes.
for not being able to get there simply because management will not adhere to prior grievance settlements, or even if you didn't have grievance settlements, the contractual language in and of itself. But what we have to do is ensure that we follow it all the way through and consistent. The easy thing, brother, is to throw your hands up. Right? One thing is here as it relates to the union is that credibility is your currency. Credibility is your currency. People have to know that you are credible, that you're working on their behalf. And then they know that if it happens 99 times, 102 times, each and every single time that you're going to file the grievance, that you're going to follow through, even all the way through to arbitration if you have to. The one thing that we have, as frustrating as it may be, because the grievance procedure is timely, or time consuming, I should say, is that we do have an area of redress. Because filing a grievance documents what an issue is or a problem. It documents what people have been made aware of. Because, brother, people do or don't do things for one or two reasons. Either because they don't know or they don't care. Filing the grievance ensures that they are made aware. And when they are made aware and they still continue to do or don't do what they're supposed to do, what can you assume? That it's because they don't care. Then when you get to a point where you don't care, then that's when the willful, deliberate violations come into place, and you can then justify escalating remedies. A lot of times that reason management continues to violate it, notwithstanding the fact that some of it is their attitude, they just don't care, is that we get these settlements that aren't worth the paper that they're written on. We become a tiger with no teeth and claws. We don't have language in there that holds them accountable. Will management say, I'll give you $25, $50? They basically paying you off on this grievance. But do you have something that says we're going to cease and desist? What does cease and desist mean, JH? Meaning I'm agreeing to stop and don't do it no more. And if they don't do that, we got to be consistent and take it all the way to arbitration. And you take it to arbitration, an arbitrator is going to then say, this is what you agreed to. This is why management gives us such pushback on the cease and desist language, because they understand the weight of it. They understand the gravity of it. So we cannot be falling into the instant gratification of getting $50, $100 for our letter carriers. We need to have substance to what we have. While having good language in settlements, good language in those settlements is like a cake without no flour. You can have the butter, sugar, and flavor all you want. It's not going to get where you want. It's not going to achieve your end if you cannot have the substance. And your language is your substance. So first and foremost, we must definitely file grievances, as frustrating as it may be, and thinking that it may not make a difference. It does make a difference if we stay consistent and follow up and follow through with it and get language that is worth the paper is written on.
Okay. Just to let you know what I ended up doing, I had to go behind the union because I called and he gave me a word salad, and I ended up calling the OIG just to get this taken care of. I shouldn't have had to, but stealing time is stealing time.